Hello to our Facebook family. It's Angie Rice with Boutique Travel Advisors, and I'm here with my business partner, Janet Semenova. We hope everyone has had a great start to their fall season. We've had a lot of travelers back to Europe, and people are in the process of planning trips for Thanksgiving as well as Christmas. And we're even planning into spring and finding situations sold out for spring travel and summer travel. So in particular, we see cruises really popular and selling out, with a lot of people having to reschedule their cruises. If you're looking to cruise in 2022, now is the time to be securing those sales as well as into 2023. Today we have Monique and Andy joining us from Crytal Cruises, one of our favorite luxury cruise lines. And we hope to discuss today and really help you discern what it means to travel in luxury with a cruise line like Crytal. They offer all different varieties of itineraries, destinations, and different types of ships. And we're going to talk about that today in our Facebook Live. Welcome, Monique. Welcome, Andy. Please take a second to introduce yourselves to our family of travelers.
Thank you, Angie and Janet, for having us on today. A little bit of background about myself, just so your guests learn a little bit about where we come from and our mindset, is I've been with Crytal for 5 years now. I started off as a sales rep, so I was working with you guys before, and now I work in the host channel. So you're with an amazing company, and we've moved you into a special organization so that you have full focus and our full attention. I think I shared with you guys that prior to that, I was a travel advisor for way more years than I've been on the supplier side. And I will just say that a part of why I love Crytal is most of our business is coming in through people just like you, our travel partners. And I believe very strongly, and I tell our guests and our consumers this all the time, that they really should be using their travel partners, especially more so now than ever, post pandemic. Just because with the partners, we work with you guys as a vendor to give special offers to you guys that they can't even get by going direct. Plus, you guys are their advocates through everything. I mean, our team is great, but at the end of the day, you always have their best interest at heart. And you also are the ones that are best aware of what your clients want, what they've done before, what they liked and what they didn't like, and who better to help guide them into their next travel adventure than someone who, has seen them grow through the years and seen what they've enjoyed the most.
Monique, thanks so much for saying that. I mean, it really means a lot. And I think one of the things when this pandemic started, people, cruises were at the forefront of, the very, very beginning of the pandemic with shutdowns. And, people were wondering, are cruises going to come back? And I think we're all seeing actually cruises are coming back. And not only are they coming back, but people feel safer on a cruise ship right now than they do in a lot of other places because of the vaccination requirements, the testing, the safety protocols. And I have a background in healthcare. I still have my nursing license. I was in healthcare for almost 2 decades. And I can say that I would feel confident stepping on a cruise right now in some ways more than I do in other destinations and other settings.
I think that's a really good point, Janet, because for anybody to come on a cruise, we have to report any cases that would to come up, et cetera. But we have very strict protocols. Andy and myself, and Andy will share a little bit more information. We were both on one of our brand new ships just over the weekend, and I can say the protocols we have down to a science, very strict, but to the point of being safe. I'm going to be traveling in this coming month on a personal vacation on one of our ships as well. And you're right. At least you know that the people that are on that ship have already gone through certain steps to make sure that they're safe. You don't know when you go up to the grocery store or you go out to that restaurant in the evening who's vaccinated, who's not vaccinated, who's sick, and who's not. So I think that although there was the stigmatism at the beginning of this whole pandemic, I think now you see more so than ever that cruising really is a safe way to travel. And more so, it's still a very affordable and very convenient way to travel, which it's always been in the past as well.
So a little bit about myself. Greetings from a gloomy Miami. Wish that we were talking about yesterday, and yesterday was a great sunshine. It was a little bit of rain, but that's okay. I joined Crystal last year, March of 2020. I know when I say March of 2020, it was like, oh no. But you know what? I'm happy to be here. You know, Crystal Cruises was always my North Star. When I first started my career 15 years ago, I started in the contemporary cruise lines and then work my way up. It's kind of how people start traveling. You know, they start with contemporary, then they try a little premium, and then they get their feet with luxury, and then they stay in luxury. So during my time of during a lot of I was with a lot of companies like Carnival, Royal, Disney, Celebrity, Oceania, and then I finally reached my North Star. So as Monique mentioned, I did travel just for a little bit, and I got a little taste of it. I definitely want some more. I traveled with Crystal, and let me tell you that everything that Crystal has to offer, as far as the service, the quality, destinations, honestly, that it is what they say. The rumors are true. Now, Crystal is, you know, the pinnacle of cruising. I met with my butler. He showed me the stateroom. He showed me how to use the wet bar. He showed me how to, you know, even work my TV. And granted, you know, have, you know, large LCD TVs are in my house, but he just want to make sure that I knew everything from A to Z. And honestly, that service is what really brings my attention, brings my business, or per se, uh, to a cruise line. And one of the things I will share with you, talking about using travel partners, you know what? I honestly, I came from the direct side, then I came now to the trade side, and let me tell you, these travel partners, our travel advisors, know what they're talking about. They know the ins and outs, the nooks and crannies of, you know, destinations. You know, I used one of my personal travel in Ireland, and they told me, we need to go to this restaurant. You need to, you know, travel here. And I don't think that the way you map, that's the best way. And when we bring our travel partners, you know, to see the product, I know, Angie, you're going to try our product here very soon, which I'm very excited for you. You know, it just, you know what, it brings it home that you are uh the the you're the go-to person. That's how to find the word. You're the go-to person people can go to and say, hey, Andy, what is the hidden gems on this particular cruise line or this particular itinerary? So again, if you sound the excitement in my voice, I'm very excited to talk to your audience. This is going to be a great few minutes here to spend with you all.
Thank you guys so much. And we're excited to hear more about the product. I know Angie and I love and are really passionate about truly luxury products, and talk about a little bit about where we can all discuss kind of what really makes a product luxury. Of course, it's the cabins and the service and the food, but there's so much more than that. I mean, it's really the attention to details. And I always think, for me personally, my definition of luxury is access to unique experiences, access to really far off destinations that I could never get to by myself, and access to, you know, special amenities. So I think that those are the things for me that make a luxury cruise line or a luxury hotel. And I'm excited to hear about what makes Crystal kind of the epitome of luxury.
I think it's interesting, Janet, because you know we talk about, well, what makes something luxury, and a lot of times when we train our advisors to make you guys the experts in the product, and when we have consumer presentations, whether it be on a podcast like this or in person, which we can't wait to all get back to the normality of doing a lot of more in-person things again. But luxury, we always say, is more than just how many line items are on the list of what's included. I think that something has happened over the last year or so where, oh, well, it's all included. And that translates somehow to luxury, and it doesn't. You know, you can have your beverages included and you can have your Wi Fi included, but it's in those little fine details. It is in that intangible feeling that you have when you step aboard our ships. It's when our guests come back. I mean, over 72% of our guests rebook while they're on board a Crystal ship to take their next vacation. And I think it's because when you're on board, you feel how special you are. And when you come back, it's a little thing that we always say at the company, and it sounds hokey, but it's so true to the bones. It's like you're coming back to your family. Coming back on board to the ship this past weekend, it's a brand new ship. However, we had a lot of our staff on board that I have been in touch with over the years on the other ships. So they remember you. They remember how you like your cocktail. They remember what tea you like after dinner. They know what is your favorite course on the dishes. It's just it is that intangible feeling, and what's most important is luxury means something different for everybody. Some people are going to want luxury from the food aspect. Some are going to want it to what you said, Janet, about going to these unique destinations and places and having these experiences. Others, it's about the entertainment. Others, it's space. And I think that when we talk a little bit more about Crystal, and Andy will break into that, some of our pillars that we talk about, it is that service quality. We're world renowned, we're award winning. Our staff on board is what we call our secret sauce. But you add to that secret sauce the cuisine, the entertainment, the amazing destinations, the beautiful hardware, the beautiful suites that we have on board. It's going to touch on somebody's soul all the way across the board, and they're going to want to continue to come back to Crystal.
And just to piggyback on that, Monique, I agree. I mean, it's when during my course, obviously during my career, I did travel with the cruise line that I work with, and traveling with Crystal, honestly, it redefines what luxury is, because it honestly is just everything from start to finish makes you feel like it's not a cruise ship. As a matter of fact, when I showed pictures of my journey, it was like, wow, this looks like a 5 to 6 star hotel, and I just love it. And you're about the crew, that it's a secret sauce, for the crew to, take your luggage. When you check in, they take your luggage and escort you to your room. When that happened to me the first time, I was like, wait, where are you going? I'm like, I could take my own luggage, but it's their pleasure, to take your luggage to your stateroom, make sure you have your keys, make sure you have everything, that when you are at dinner, I see that, you like this red wine. What type of red wine do you like? Do you like, maybe not so much a Merlot, maybe, we'll do a combination of, of Pinot Noir, something like that. It's just that feeling that, what, I'm taking care of, that I can really put my hair down and just enjoy. And not to mention these amazing itineraries that we're going to touch upon. And it's just, I want to go. I want to go now.
You
Right?
can't, Andy. You got to work.
What I also think, when you're really, especially for someone that's newer to the luxury space, I think that it's this opportunity for some people who may not have chosen to sail because they didn't feel it was going to give them the 5-star quality when it came to accommodations. And Crystal, I've been on, your cruises, and it truly is like a hotel that is taking you from port to port and creating this convenience without having to compromise on the quality and the luxury that's offered when you enter your cabin. And you also have a lot of suite categories, where in other ships, the standard cabin of a Crystal is, a higher suite category on other ships. So it naturally, your entry category is an exquisite cabin already. And I also feel, and I'm hoping you'll share with us today, the fact that you've created this new concept where you're combining luxury and expedition cruising. And I'd love for you to make sure that that's something that we cover today, because I think that's really exciting. We have a lot of travelers that want to go to some exotic destinations, but they don't want to forego the luxury. And I think you've come to that conclusion. And during this pandemic, Crystal has really been able to create some ships and itineraries that are just going to create that missing gap in traveling via expedition to places like Antarctica. And I know you have other destinations. So I look forward to hopefully you have pictures of these ships that you can share with us as well.
Absolutely. And Angie, it's interesting because, coming from, and I've mentioned I've worked for some other brands as well, where our ocean ships, we got a 50,000 ton, a 70,000 ton ship, and yet they're holding less than 1,000 passengers. And this was even pre-pandemic. So a lot of cruise lines had to pivot quickly in reducing capacity, where we had some of the largest space to guest ratios even pre COVID happening. So with us, we don't even have inside staterooms on our two ocean ships. You have ocean view verandas, and then you have the suites that you mentioned. But as we've gone forward in other product or other experiences, as we like to say at Crystal, the Endeavor, which we're going to definitely talk about because that's the whole reason. That's why I'm here. I told we were going to talk about the Endeavor. So she's our brand new expedition, but she's all suites, all butlers, regardless of category. The room that I was in was like an entry level, and I was blown away. Our river ships are the same way. All verandas on those ships, with the exception of our Mozart, which she's our little special hidden gem, but all butler service throughout. The inclusions that we've talked about, whether it be your specialty restaurants, the Endeavor includes limited shore excursions that we offer. And again, keeping expedition, sometimes it's kind of like, well, let's see how the weather is. And oh, there's penguins over there. And look, there's seals over here. So there's a lot more flexibility. But with our river, your guests have everything included in that price point, and they have anywhere from 2 to 4 different shore excursion choices that they can opt to. But definitely, I think when Andy shows some of the photos from our ocean ships, you'll see that understated opulence. But again, it carries over more than just the beauty of the interior. I mean, the expedition is a wow factor. She's gorgeous. You forget that you're on an expedition ship because you can get down and dirty during the day, sweat, get in the mud, go, dive, whatever you want to do. But then you're going to come back to the ship, get into, 500 count sheets, that nice rain
I'm
head
sold.
shower, heated floors, Janet. I'm telling you, pampering.
Yes,
It's
this is
all
me
beautiful.
glamping on sea, like totally
Absolutely.
luxury. Yeah,
That's a great
absolutely.
analogy, glamping at sea. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So, Andy, you want to share some of those images for us, and then we can
Yeah,
kind of go through
absolutely.
that? That'd be
Sure.
awesome. I think that that's what it really comes down to. And in your clients, again, you guys have worked with these people over the years. You've helped them with their other travel. You're going to see what they've liked, what they don't like. You know the product, Ange, so you've been on it. You're going to get to experience the river soon. I think that it's fitting your guest with the right crystal experience. Not even whether it's crystal or not, but it's fitting them with the right experience that we offer. And the beauty is once they go on one of our experiences, they have the ability of shifting to the other experiences, having a different, vacation, so to speak, but still having everything that is the benchmark of what makes Crystal so special.
And I love that Crystal knows its clients. It
Oh.
knows that people like, we want a different experience depending on the destination, but we want some staple offerings, that assurance that we're going to be provided that 5-star experience. And you can do it different ways based on the goals of that particular trip. And Crystal knows that its clients want the more spacious rooms, that they want the verandas, regardless of whether it's a smaller ship or a larger ship, that you create your entry category based on what's expected of what a Crystal traveler would expect. So that makes our job easier, because when we call, regardless of the availability, we have a much higher probability of finding a cabin that's going to appease our client, because there's not a bad cabin on the ship.
And that's a really great point. And actually, a partner that I've worked with, she's got clients that go on world cruises every single year, and they are fine with the ocean view rooms. I'm thinking, my goodness, I mean, but they've got all these milestones, and don't you want to be in a veranda, or don't you want the suite? And they're like, nope, this room is what we do. We go and we do the extra stuff then with this, that, and the other. But that's the beauty of when you come back to the ship year after year, or a different experience, you see your favorite entree course on the menu, even though it's river versus ocean, or you see that maitre d that just made your anniversary special with your husband last year, and now he's on the other ship and he remembers you guys, and oh, how are you? Again, it's that family at sea, and it is truly like coming home each time. And I think that is what your guests, when they experience Crystal, and then when you use your special touch in maneuvering them to what itinerary is going to best suit what their interests are at that moment in time. But our river, Danube, Rhine, Mosel, mine itineraries, beautiful all-inclusive experience. And then, of course, we've got the Endeavor, which, we're going to kind of build up some additional anticipation as we launch into her.
So I'm going to share kind of what we talked about, especially the what makes us special, what makes us very unique from any other brands out there. And I think it goes to one main thing, which is our brand pillars. Monique and I touch based on the service. That honestly, in my opinion, is the main thing that separates us from the rest. As we mentioned, we do have our crew that welcomes you like family, that remembers you. And like Monique was talking just now, I have seen actually folks when I was on my 2-day adventure that they remember, oh, I remember you from this one, I think from this cruise, 5 years ago or 2 years ago, or whatever the case is. And they asked about this particular person, and one of their colleagues went and grabbed that person because that guest wants to talk to them again and see them, especially during this whole pandemic. For me, I think the service, it means that they get to know me, get to know my likes, they get to know my dislikes. I heard a story one time that I had um, I had a travel partner that brought their 2 guests on board, and the guest came to the bartender and went to the bar at Crystal Cove. She said that I wanted 2 martinis and know exactly what the martinis that they ordered, even something off the menu. And then finally, when they went to their excursion, they came back. They saw the bartender walking down the hall. Hey, couldn't you come to Crystal Cove? And they said, "Well, no, we're tired. We spent a great day on an excursion, and then we're now going just to go to sleep." And he goes, "Well, pass by the bar later on. We'll have some laughs and we'll talk. I'll get you a special martini." And then they went to their stateroom. And then she said about 10 minutes later, she gets a knock on the door. And it is that bartender that actually brought those 2 martinis to their stateroom. So it's stories like that that honestly just makes us very unique with the service level. The space also, especially nowadays with post pandemic, the space is somewhat important here to us. And honestly, we do have we have large space in our ocean ships and our river ships. And when I say river ships, I think sometimes folks that have traveled on a river cruise are a little bit taken back, because how can you say that you have space on a river? And I'll show actually pictures what our river ships look like. And we have that space. You can we can do that social distance. You can feel like you're in a big ship, even though the size of it may not be like a 6,000 passenger ship. The quality is honestly what we have on board is top notch, whether it be the linens, whether it be the pillows, whether it be the furniture, whether it be the wines. We had several wines that a lot of folks were at dinner like, wait, do you offer this on every single cruise? Is this something that I can have, let's say, on an ocean or river? And the answer is yes. We have top-notch entertainment. So this is honestly another thing that makes us very unique, is the quality that we use on board. And then the choices, not only the choices of itineraries, the choices of entertainment, the choices of excursions, but also the choices of experience. And then we're going to go with these different experiences here in just a minute. And back to the destination, choices of the destinations, where we go all over the world. Even if you're an ocean, you go to the rivers, and then you go to the expeditions. We touch about everywhere around the world. So we're going to go into our ocean. So our ocean vessels, we have the Serenity and Symphony. Currently, right now, they're doing the Bahamas, they're doing the Caribbean. Serenity is going to do her Grand Voyage, a mini around the world cruise. We don't call it around the world because Australia is still opening up, and we're not going to go to Australia. But we do have like very unique itineraries for 2022. We did announce our world cruise for 2024. So if you're interested in a world cruise, definitely,
But
contact
Andy,
your lovely folks.
let me say something too,
Yeah.
because you mentioned the Caribbean, you mentioned the Bahamas, and for guests that have never experienced Crystal before, we've always had much longer itineraries. And I don't know about you guys, guys, but sometimes if I'm not sure of something, the last thing I want to do is subject myself to 10, 12, 15, 20 some days to something that I don't know if I'm going to feel comfortable on, if I'm going to like. Right now, with these 7-night round trip Bahamas or Miami to Puerto Rico itineraries, there is one 7-night itineraries. Anyone can survive a 7-night itinerary. I've survived some 7-night cruises that I would never ever do again, but I survived. But also the price points. We have some amazing price points that have never been seen at Crystal that are offering best available in categories. So you could buy what would be considered a minimum ocean view, be put all the way into the top ocean. Verandas the same way, amazing prices with suites. And obviously when you guys out there, when you're working with your travel partners, we have special deals out there with them as well. We give you some as you wish onboard credits for you to have some spending for if you want to, go to the shops on board, etc. But if you haven't tried Crystal and you're thinking, well, maybe I do, maybe you guys are the premium product, you've been on the bigger premium cruises, guys, you can go on Crystal this year. You could go on the first quarter of next year. See what we're talking about. I mean, don't take our word for it, because again, everybody's taste in luxury is different. So what I may like, you may not. But take that opportunity, do a 7-day cruise, and then come back and tell Angie and Janet if we were telling you little fibs here about how great the product is. And then next time, or even while you're on board, go ahead and book that future cruise, and Ange and Janet will get those confirmations back, and then they will be able to pick up where our onboard consultant left off, and then they will be able to help you and continue on with the additional sailing details as well.
Seamless, totally seamless.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Monique, because I also was going to talk about our promotion right now for the limited time Veranda offer. And you're going to get Verandas on this Crystal Symphony at Ocean View pricing. And this is, again, for the 2021, early 2022 voyages. And you just dip your toe in the water, see what we're all about, come on board, see the service level, the quality, the brand pillars I just touched upon. And like Monique said, seeing is believing. So here's some little pictures of our ocean brand, and this, you have the palm court here, you have water, that's not waterside, I'm sorry, marketplace here. You also have waterside, which is our main dining room. And what I like about waterside is no reservations. You need to just come on in, and we definitely will accommodate you. Everything is crystal casual. So if Crystal Casual is resort casual, country club casual. So you don't need to wear any tuxes or any elegant wear, but of course that is up to you. If you want to wear them, definitely be my guest.
Andy, can you share the pictures on the screen? I'm just so anxious to show everyone the pictures of the ships and the interiors as well as the amenities.
Absolutely.
And I think for a lot of people who haven't been on an itinerary that has time at sea, I know when I first ventured on my first cruise, my second cruise, those were the most intimidating days, not knowing how I would spend my time on the ship. And to be honest with you, as much as I'm looking forward to the various port destinations, I equally, for different reasons, enjoy the time on the ship. So I think, sometimes we think the ship is just what gets us from point A to point B, but it's also the place where we're able to get our daily workouts in, whether it's before we leave the ports or prior to dinner. It's also where we're able to relax, find a nice place to read a book. And you're right, with a spacious ship, there's so many different places where you can retreat and get a different experience, as well as with the dining. There's different themes and styles of cuisine. So I think seeing the interior photos is so fun to share.
I definitely will share that here with you, Angie. And one of the things that I do like about the ocean ships, and you just kind of touch upon this, is what to do. A lot of times when folks think luxury, like, okay, it's you do have the best things, but then everybody falls asleep at 11 p.m. but that's far from the truth. We do have nightly entertainment. We do have the nightlife. I've seen folks fall asleep 2, 3 in the morning. On the Crystal Serenity, we do have a nightclub. Not many people have done the luxury vessels. We do have award-winning entertainment. One of the things that I enjoy, again, coming from the contemporary lines up to the luxury lines, is the piano bar. I'm the person there singing Billy Joel till 2 or 3 in the morning, with my glass of wine. That's gonna be me, and Crystal has that. Or if you want to do a little bit, of a more intimate, you do have, the Hollywood Theater. Maybe you want dinner, dinner in the movie, or you can go and have dinner for two at Umi Uma or Prego or specialty dining rooms. If you're celebrating a birthday party or a retirement, actually, my dad just retired. I will put him in the vintage room. 6 to 7 course with different types of wine.
Andy, do you have pictures of that in your presentation?
On the presentation, I do not.
Okay.
But I can share them here with you, so you can post them on your Facebook so folks can see what the vintage room looks like. And it's amazing. I mean, the food, the wine, the quality of wine that we have there, it's amazing. And for the pricing that we charge for that, I would tell you that in any restaurant, you're looking at thousands of dollars, but at Crystal, you're not going to pay that price, and you get the top-notch food and service. So
I have a question. Yeah. Are you guys going to include any ports of call in Monaco during the Grand Prix?
We usually will have one itinerary where we will overlap with the Monaco Grand Prix. And often when we do that, we have always been able to arrange different types of tickets for Monaco to do that. Yeah. And I think that that's something that's very special with us. We have an amazing destinations team at Crystal. And not only does that carry from our typical ocean ships, but we also have that with our river, doing like special events ashore, whether it's the Belvedere Palace and having a private concert at the Belvedere Palace, or when we're doing our Antarctica and we have our new expedition teams that we just announced last week, actually, with new team members coming on. These various types of itineraries, again, it goes to those choices that we talked about as pillars with Crystal, whether you want to do the Grand Prix and do it on an ocean ship, or you want to go to Christmas markets, talking about opportunities that are still available for this year with River. We have amazing Christmas market, opportunities on our Danube and our Rhine cruises. And that is something that your guests can definitely look into and test out the waters for that. Antarctica with the new expedition ship. Again, she's stunning. 100 rooms, all suites, 200 guests, a 20,000-ton ship. You guys may have seen on social media where the Serenity and the Endeavor met in the Caribbean, and they were kind of circling each other.
Do you have a picture of that ship, Andy?
The Endeavor, yeah. I was going to jump into the Endeavor.
Perfect.
So the Endeavor, this is what she looks like. Now, this was taken when she was in Germany. Right before she left to Iceland, and then she moved her way back down to Miami. So there we go. There she is. So this is our baby sister, the Endeavor.
Now, you want to click through and show some of the other images from on
let's
board?
look at the social spaces. So we talked about the ocean and how the ocean has amazing spaces. The Crystal Endeavor has those spaces on board. And look at the Expedition Lounge. This is a library. So the Expedition Lounge, if you want to do presentations, if you want to do maybe continue education course, or if you want to go, or if you have again celebrating a birthday party or time, whatever the case is, this is a great little lounge. On the other side is the library, and the library has a bunch of books. Again, the selection of books is incredible. I prefer like the Scrabble table. My wife and I probably will be there playing Scrabble the entire time. And then going to Palm Court, and Palm Court does have that grand piano. It has the bar. It's kind of a meeting place. This is kind of where after dinner everyone goes to have a good time because one of those entertainment venues that I talked about. Waterside, our dining room, Umi Uma, our specialty restaurant, is on board. And then I don't have the pictures of Prego, Vintage Room, which is actually all in one, Crystal Cove. You have the LED walls, and we, for nightly entertainment, we use those LED walls. You do have upstairs, the helipad. There's the submarine. You do have the mud rooms. You have laundry. So again, even though it is an expedition cruise, you don't feel like you're on an expedition ship. And to put the cherry on top are the staterooms. And the staterooms are large. You got 304 square feet. And this is just the entry level suite. When I was on that 2 day cruise on Endeavor, I saw the owner suite. I saw the expedition suite. These are 2 bedrooms. I mean, you had TVs
For
coming.
some of our clients who live in New York, I know I have a lot of clients right now who are from Manhattan. This is like the size of a nice apartment.
It is.
Exactly.
It is on the west side.
Exactly.
On the
Unbelievable.
west side.
But I think with the Endeavor too, and I remember when we decided to, first come out that we were building this expedition ship and doing presentations and saying that I really felt in the core of my being that this was going to be a ship that was really going to be a hybrid, that was really going to change the way expedition was looked upon. When you step on the Endeavor and you saw those beautiful images that Andy was showing, that on an expedition ship, one, you don't expect to see staterooms like that, first of all. Second of all, it's the choices. Keep saying choices, 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 but guests that have done Crystal Ocean, they've gotten used to Umi Uma, they've gotten used to Prego, they've gotten used to the Palm Court. We've carried over so many features of our large ocean ships over to the Endeavor, just on a little bit of a smaller scale. So, Palm Court is a hub of activity. We've got the Cove, which is another hub of activity. It's the same way on our ocean ships. If you want dancing at night, if you want, casual entertainment before dinner, those would be the 2 places that you would go on the ocean ships to do it. It's the same thing on the Endeavor. We take our ROV underwater cameras. We're able to transmit what we're taking pictures underwater. Those go onto the LED screens in the Palm Court, in the Cove, and also in suite in all of the rooms. So you could be like getting ready for dinner, looking at the fish swimming by, whatever they're looking at underwater, and having those lectures that they do as well.
Andy,
So
can you pull those pictures back up? Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
Monique, when the way that you describe these opportunities to feel like you're embracing the surroundings during your time on ship, it really opens up the opportunity for people who are very adventurous, who really want that expedition experience, to be able to travel with others who maybe, sort of have, less interest in the expedition and more interest in the luxury that they're used to when traveling with Crystal. And, whether that's multi-gen, where you have older travelers with younger active travelers, or even like a corporate retreat where, we have a lot of corporations and executives and employees who are now working from home, and they need ways to bring their team together. They need ways to interact with their board members and their executives. This is a fantastic opportunity to bring people together. And if you're, a group, you need 20 cabins, that's still, you're almost monopolizing this ship. And it's, to charter this ship is not unfathomable for some companies. To take 100 cabins for their management and their executives to have an in-depth experience, team building, as well as even meeting space, while they're allowing for the engagement of team building and being able to enjoy, being part of a president's club or something to that effect. It's really a great diverse product because you're combining the destination, the adventure, with the luxury.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, So what I was going to say is, on the expedition, talking about corporate retreats, talking about, folks looking, especially now, folks are looking to possibly do some type of corporate event. What really took me back, and I was thinking like, what can we host on this ship that I think corporations can really take advantage of, is how much meeting space there is on this ship. that really took me back. You have the helicopter lounge that, and again, they're used to doing briefings and debriefings of using the helicopter, but that could be a meeting space. Crystal Cove, when I saw the LED wall, the immediate thing I thought, wow, someone can do an amazing presentation like a mini auditorium. So you definitely have this different space. What I showed you of the library, the Endeavor Lounge there, they you can't see, actually there is a huge LED TV on that wall. The folks can do or breakout sessions. And immediately with the library, I'll think about, oh, you can do breakout sessions in the library. You can use, because the library is right next to Palm Court, and folks can have those breakout sessions. And again, for a mini retreat or corporation wants to travel here with us. And same thing goes with our ocean ships. Obviously, ocean it's much larger on a larger scale, but we do that. We actually do welcome a lot of groups that are looking to kind of think outside the box. So instead of going maybe on an all-inclusive resort, definitely look at a Crystal Cruise, because we do have those meeting spaces, and not many people know that a luxury ship can do that.
Yeah, we charter a lot, especially with River, because again, we got 106. They hold 106 guests, so it's a sweet spot, and that's no different with the Endeavor. Now she does have a little bit higher of a per diem because of what she does, but yes, I think that there was a lot of thoughtfulness that went into building the ship as to making space convertible. So that we could use the space for meetings, we could use the space for small breakout sessions. There's a lot of different value, and even to the point of where you're bringing families. She is an expedition ship, and there is some limitations to the fact that if you have mobility issues, not necessarily on the ship, but the destinations that you're going, you may not be able to get in that Zodiac and bounce around and, those kind of things. But I have no doubt, and we're seeing it with bookings right now, you're having multi-generational families that are booking this, where you have your teenagers that are well-traveled families with grandmas and grandpas that they understand that they're maybe not going to be able to participate in everything on shore, but they're getting to spend time with their family in a very luxurious setting. The ship has a full service spa on board. I bet it's not as big as what we have on our ocean ships, but you've got treatment rooms, you've got a nail salon, you've got a great gym so you can exercise so your clothes will still fit you by the end of the trip, because I had that happen in Alaska back in 2019 for 2 weeks. Nothing fit by the end of the cruise. So yes, you will gain weight if you don't continue to move around and chase the bears, I guess.
Monique,
Uh,
I love this concept. I mean, Angie and I do a lot of multi-generational, and I think as people kind of reprioritize their lives, I think that we're going to see a lot more multi-generational travel, and as a way to just connect with, even with families, but also multi friend groups as well. So multiple families traveling together. Angie and I just went to Croatia, and we left the husbands at home to work, and we chartered a small sailing yacht, and we brought our kids and my grandmother. So it was, I think you're going to see a lot of different dynamics. But what about families who are like, well, I don't know if Crystal is right for the kids. We get that it's right for the adults. We get that it's right for the grandparents. But what about for the kids? Are they really going to have fun? Are they going to feel welcome? What is the atmosphere going to be like for them? Or are they going to feel like maybe they don't fit in? How would you address that concern?
I think it depends on that children, everybody, children are raised different ways. So when I always say well-traveled children, like for Antarctica, they have to be over 6 years old in order to travel because of the destination. On our ocean ships for luxury product, we were the only luxury products that actually had dedicated children's areas. Now, right now with post-pandemic, we don't have the number of, counselors on board because again, there's still that social distancing and mix and mingling. But on ocean ships, when things settle down and get back to normal, we actually had a lot of families over the holidays. We would get lots of families for destinations like Alaska because again, it's that educational experience, wilderness animals, that kind of thing. We used to get a lot of families that would love to do Crystal, and we had great children's programs on board. What we're finding with, and what I would anticipate will be the same with expedition, is we're going to have those active teenagers. We see that on River now. If you put a 5-year-old on our River cruise, if they're the only 5-year-old, they're not going with their cousins and stuff or their siblings, they're going to be bored because they're not going to have other children their age on board. But when we're talking, Janet, these multi-generational families, they tend to have other siblings and cousins, etc. So they entertain themselves. And if you've got those well-traveled children, they're not looking to do pirate scavenger hunts, etc. They're looking to know what they're going to go out and do in that next port of call the next day with mom, dad, and the rest of the family.
I agree 100%. And I think that the key word is those well-traveled and also just adaptable kids. Like
Yep.
when we were on our private catamaran, it was just us and our captain, captain hostess. There was no entertainment on board, but the kids had a fantastic time. And what I like about sometimes when you remove all of the entertainment options that you are provided on the big ships or in the big resorts, you're actually removing a lot of distractions that I think in a lot of ways actually interfere with quality family time. Because when kids are on a big ship and there's a disco and water slides and rock climbing wall and ice skating and all these other activities, it's fantastic. The kids are entertained. But how much time are you actually spending together as
You're
a
not
family?
having that bonding moment, which is why families want to travel together to start with,
Yeah.
to have that time together.
And I
That's
like
so
to
true. I
actually
had a
spend time with
client
my
tell me
kids.
just the other day that she's gone on a couple of vacations, mainly beach vacations with her family and other families.
Mhm.
And her criticism of those trips, although she had a great time, was that we didn't spend enough time with our children. There was too much distracting the kids in one direction
Yep.
and the adults in the other. So I think when you're, and Janet and I love strategizing with our multi-gen clients about really what is it that's going to make this trip memorable for the entire family.
Mhm.
And when you think outside the box and you take a product that is flexible, like Crytal is willing to work with you to create these environments. They have space that can be interchanged, and they provide this high level, sophisticated service. And with that, you get customization. So when you have families, whether it's a group of teenagers or you have siblings, and even in my case, I have great nieces and nephews already. So I mean, our family is one to into their 30s for the grandkids. And so it really is about having that time together and creating ways to bring the family together and not to distract
Quality
them.
time. It's quality family time.
Outwardly.
Absolutely. So I think that goes to the point that, when we work for a brand, we want to make it like it's everybody's right fit. It's not every brand is the right fit for everybody. But I can say that even though Crytal quote is luxury, I've seen the brand evolve in the last 5 years that I've been here to a larger spectrum of guests that definitely are drawn to it. I think that people that are maybe in their 30s, their 40s, 50s, they're becoming more savvy travelers, and they're also appreciating the better things in life as well. So I don't think that luxury translates just to a certain age bracket. And it goes back, Janet, to having the kids. I think that there's certain children that, it's not their wheelhouse, but I also have friends and family that, the kids have been, traveling safaris and to the far reaches of the earth since they were in diapers. So that typical 10-year-old, 12-year-old is not what may be somebody else's 10 or 12-year-old. And again, I hate to bring it back to the travel partners and you guys, but that's why it's so important for guests out there to utilize your services, because you guys get to know how their families travel, what their families liked on their last vacation, what was the buzzword. When I used to have partners or guests that would come back, I would always do like a debrief when they would come back from their vacation. And I'd say, okay, you've never done this brand before. How did you like it? What didn't you like about it? Who in the family did or didn't like it? And I did big groups. So there was always that, definitely multi dimensional. You had a lot of people to feed off of as to what everybody's personal view was on the product. But I do believe strongly that, not just because I want to sell our ships, but I do believe that Crytal definitely can be the right fit for a very large spectrum of people. It just is what they want at that moment. And we have 3 different experiences to offer to the guests to fit them best into that. Speechless.
Yes. And we would love to have you guys come back and really focus on each of those different niches within your brand. And oftentimes when you're building an itinerary, we do a lot of Europe where it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks of travel. And a great way to allow for flexibility and different experiences is to have some of that time by land, other portions of that time by sea. And the strategy is trying to find the itineraries that either start or end where our travelers want to experience land, right? And there's certain destinations, depending on activity level versus how much time somebody wants to spend, more so relaxing, will dictate where they spend their time by land versus when they're actually on a boat cruising. And with, you know, if you're watching the news, everyone knows that air traffic right now is really difficult. And my understanding, I'd love for you guys to clarify, is that there might be a charter opportunity available with sailing. Crytal, could you touch on that real quickly?
Yeah, so we talked about the expedition, talk about the ocean, talk about the river. So right now on our expedition ship, we spend a lot of time here talking about her. We have an amazing promotion, and it is again for 2021, early 2022, which is we're going to include charter flights from Miami into Ushuaia. Ushuaia, Argentina is where you take the ship going to Antarctica. When you return, we'll bring you back from Ushuaia, charter the flight from Ushuaia back into Miami. You have a pre-hotel.
That's getting to
humongous.
Ushuaia is a pain.
That is humongous. We have a pre-night hotel in Ushuaia and a post-night hotel in Miami. Again, we leave everything here to us, especially this big item with Antarctica, kind of like the life checklist, of places to see. This is one of them. Definitely, you do not want to miss out on this promotion.
So if anyone's watching and Antarctica is on your bucket list and you don't want to deal with today's travel by air, going to the airports and flying commercial, if that's not an opportunity that appeals to you, I don't know what will. So if you're interested, send us a message, email us at info@travelbta.com, and we can look at itineraries and help you navigate that experience, because Antarctica, I know, is on a lot of people's bucket list. And, believe it or not, getting to destinations is a little bit more challenging now. Crytal's making that easier with a private charter. And once you're in destination, Janet and I we've been traveling internationally, and once you're there, it's a breath of fresh air. There's a lot less tourism and much more appreciation for the traveler. So it's a good time to travel if you can deal with the headaches of getting to and from, and Crytal's making it easier for its expedition sail to Antarctica. And thank you again for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Leave comments and participate in the group, and have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll be in touch again soon.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us, Andy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.